The first sign that Elias Ward was going to die that day was the silence, not the calm, peaceful silence of a quiet morning. This was the heavy silence that comes after something huge moves, something that changes the air itself. It felt like the world was holding its breath. Even the fires burning on the ruined battlefield seemed unsure if they should keep flickering. Elias stood alone in the smoke, rifle shaking in his hands. He could not see the enemy, but he could feel her. Every instinct he had training, fear, pure survival told him one thing. She was close. A strange pressure rolled over the ground, like an unseen wave. Elias felt it hit his chest, cold and sharp. Then he heard it, the soft click of claws against metal, slow, deliberate, confident. No creature that walked like that was afraid. Only predators walked like that. Then came the voice. Not loud, not angry, just calm. Too calm, human, it said behind him. Stay where you are. His stomach dropped. Every human soldier knew that voice. The Empress, Atsira, Varine, the most dangerous being in the Varine Empire. Elias had never seen her before, but he had heard the stories. Her army crushed colonies in days. Her decisions were final. Her mercy did not exist. They said she once stood alone on a burning moon and ordered 1,000 executions without blinking. Now she stood behind him, every muscle in Elias's body tensed. He wanted to run, but his legs felt frozen. He wanted to breathe, but his lungs refused to move. The sound of her footsteps grew louder. Tap. 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 Closer. Closer. His weapon felt useless in his hands. Against her, it was useless. He didn't turn around. He didn't dare. Then something cold brushed the ground behind him. Smooth, metallic. Alive. Her tail. It moved like a whisper, circling him slowly. It wasn't attacking. It was studying him, tasting his fear, testing how long he could stand before breaking. Another soft breath came from behind him, too steady for someone who had just finished a battle. As if the entire fight had been nothing more than a warm-up for her. Do you know, she said quietly, that you are the last human standing on this field? Elias felt his heartbeat hammer in his ears. His team gone? All of them? He didn't answer. She took one slow step forward. He heard the sound of her armor shifting, smooth and sharp like sliding glass. Turn around, she ordered. His entire mind screamed not to. If he turned, he would be face to face with the most feared war leader in the galaxy. Face to face with death. But he turned. Smoke parted around her like she commanded the air itself. A tall figure, silver markings glowing along her dark armor. 4 bright eyes staring at him with the cold focus of a scientist and the hunger of a predator. Her tail lifted behind her, blades shining like fresh lightning. She studied him. Silent. Unmoving. Deadly. Elias tried to speak, but his voice failed him. She tilted her head slightly, as if curious. A human who still stands, she said. Interesting. Her tail rose higher. Her hand hovered over her energy blade, and Elias knew one wrong breath, one wrong blink, one wrong heartbeat. She would kill him. She stepped closer, until he could feel the heat radiating from her armor. You should be afraid, she said softly. He was terrified. More terrified than he had ever been, but something inside him refused to show it. And that tiny spark, the one stubborn spark of courage, was the thing that changed everything. Blade on her tail twitched once. Fast. Elias reacted before his mind caught up. His hand grabbed her tail. Everything stopped. Her soldiers would call it madness. Her generals would call it suicide. But the Empress did not react the way he expected. She froze. Her 4 eyes widened, slightly. Not in anger. In shock, like she had just witnessed something impossible. And in that one impossible moment, the war took a turn no one, not even Elias, could have imagined. Elias did not breathe for several seconds. He still felt the smooth metal of her tail under his fingers, still felt the shock on her face. Every instinct he had told him to run, but his body refused to move. The Empress of the Varine stared at him as if he had broken a law of nature. Her tail slid free from his grip, slow and controlled. No sudden strike, no killing blow. Instead, she stepped back as though she needed space to understand what just happened. Her soldiers landed around them in dark dropships, forming a circle. Their weapons glowed bright, aimed directly at Elias. One command from her, and they would fire. But she said nothing. She only watched him. "Why did you do that?" she finally asked. Elias swallowed. "I thought you were going to kill me." "That is not an answer," she said. "Instinct or not, you touched something sacred." He didn't know what to say. He didn't know if apologizing would help, or if speaking at all would offend her even more. So he stayed silent. The Empress walked closer, stopping just one step away. She lifted her hand, and her soldiers lowered their weapons instantly. Just moments ago, they were ready to shoot him. Now they stood frozen, confused, waiting for her next order. Atsira studied him again. Slower this time, almost thoughtful. "You should fear me," she said softly. "I do," Elias whispered. "But fear isn't everything." Her eyes narrowed slightly, but not with anger. More like interest. She circled him again, the way a scientist circles a strange sample. Her movements were smooth and silent, her tail swaying slowly behind her. "You are different from other humans I have captured," she said. "I'm not captured," he replied. It came out before he could stop himself. Her eyes flicked back to him. "Then what are you?" she asked. He almost said, "dead," but he caught himself. A soldier trying to protect his home. By grabbing the Empress of his enemy empire. She asked, her voice unreadable. "It worked," he said. For the first time, something like amusement touched her expression. A very small smile, sharp and dangerous, but not cruel. "It did," she said. She turned to her soldiers. "Prepare the transport." The warriors stiffened. One stepped forward. "Empress, the human is," she cut him off with one raised hand. "He comes with us." The soldier hesitated. "As a prisoner?" he asked carefully. She didn't answer immediately. She looked at Elias again, studying him as if deciding something very important. "No," she said finally. "Not as a prisoner." Two soldiers exchanged confused glances. One opened his mouth again, but she shot him a cold look. He immediately stepped back. Elias's heart pounded. "If I'm not a prisoner," he asked, "then what am I?" "Something new," she said simply. She motioned for him to follow her. Elias hesitated. If he went with her, there was no guarantee he'd ever return home. For all he knew, this was a trap. But staying here meant death. And running meant getting shot. He slowly walked toward her dropship. Her soldiers parted, watching him like he was something impossible. No one touched him. No one pushed him. They were confused, but they obeyed their Empress stood out inside the dropship. The air was cool and dim. The walls glowed with soft blue patterns that pulsed like veins. Elias sat on a metal bench, unsure where to put his hands. Atsira stood across from him, watching him with a calm that felt too sharp. "You reacted without fear," she said. "Even while afraid." "That's what soldiers do," Elias answered. "Not yours," she replied. "Many humans freeze. You moved." Her eyes lowered slightly. "You touched my tail." "I said I was sorry," he muttered. "I am not angry," she said. He blinked. "You're not?" "It is an insult," she said. "A grave one, but also a message. You chose survival over manners." She paused. "This is something Varine respect." Elias stared at her. "So you're not going to kill me?" "No," she said. "Killing you would waste something rare." He didn't like the sound of that. "What does that mean?" "It means you have potential," she said. "It means you will be tested." The dropship took off, lifting through the dust and smoke. Elias felt his stomach drop as the ground fell away. He watched the battlefield shrink, the broken ships and ruined metal spreading out below like a scar on the planet. "Where are we going?" he asked. "To my flagship," she said. "You will be questioned, observed, trained. Trained for what?" She didn't answer immediately. The humming of the ship filled the silence. Then she said, "For a role no human has ever been given." Elias leaned back slowly. "You're promoting me," he said. "You said that." "Yes. To what?" Atsira tilted her head. "To someone who stands beside me. Not beneath me." His mouth went dry. "That sounds like a very dangerous place to stand." "It is," she said. "But you earned it." He stared at her. "I grabbed your tail. That's earning something?" "Among my people," she said, "only the strongest dare to defy their ruler and survive." She paused. "You did both." He didn't know whether to feel proud or terrified. The dropship entered a docking bay larger than any human ship Elias had ever seen. Varine engineers stared as the doors opened and their Empress stepped out with a human walking behind her. Whispers spread instantly. Some were shocked, some were angry. Some simply didn't believe their own eyes. Atsira ignored all of them. She led Elias through long corridors lined with glowing crystal panels. Varine's soldiers stepped aside as she passed, but many glared at Elias openly. Some looked confused. Others looked insulted. A few looked like they wanted to challenge him on the spot. She finally stopped in front of a tall door that opened with a soft click. "Inside," she said. Elias stepped in and froze. It wasn't a prison cell. It was a chamber large, clean, quiet, with a soft bed, a table, lights that adjusted automatically, even water. A real room. Not luxury, but respect. He turned to her slowly. "Why give me this?" "Because," she said, "you are not here to suffer. You are here to prove something." "What exactly do you want me to prove?" "That humans," she said, "are more than children." He felt heat rise in his chest. "Is that what you think of us?" "It is what my empire believes," she said, stepping closer. "You may be the one who changes that." "Me?" he asked. "I'm nobody." "Not anymore," she said. Her eyes held his for a long moment. Then she said the words that would change everything. "Tomorrow, you begin training as my new combat advisor." Elias's breath caught. Advisor. To the Empress. The door closed softly behind her, leaving him alone with the truth he never expected. He was no longer fighting the Varine Empire. He was becoming a part of it. Elias barely slept that night. Every time he closed his eyes, he remembered the battlefield, the smoke, the moment he grabbed the Empress's tail. He remembered her shocked eyes. He remembered the way she spoke to him, cold, sharp, but curious. Not a murderer. Not a monster. Something different. Morning, if morning counted in deep space, came with a soft knock on his door. He opened it slowly. 2 Varine soldiers stood outside, taller than him, armored from shoulder to claw. They didn't speak. They simply bowed their heads once, a gesture somewhere between respect and obedience. "Follow." Elias walked with them through the enormous corridors of the flagship. Everything glowed with soft blue light. Strange symbols moved across the walls like flowing water. Varine engineers stepped aside, staring at him with disbelief. Whispered words followed him from every direction. Human. Weak. Why him? Chosen? Impossible. He pretended not to hear. The doors to a training arena opened with a deep metallic hum. The room was massive, filled with moving platforms, holographic targets, and strange weapons. In the center stood the Empress, waiting. She wore no helmet today. The silver markings on her face glowed like fire. Her tail moved slowly behind her, controlled, dangerous. "You are late," she said. Elias blinked. "It's my first day. Then you should be earlier than required." He sighed. "Right. Good morning." She stared at him. Humans greet each other. Strangely. "It's polite," he said. Polite is unnecessary, she replied. Strength is necessary. She motioned toward the training grounds. Your role is not to fight for me, she said. Your role is to fight beside me. And before you can advise me, you must understand how my warriors think. How they train. How they survive. Elias nodded. I'll try. Do more than try, she said. The next hour pushed him further than any training on Earth. Marine combat drills were brutal. He dodged energy strikes, sprinted across shifting platforms, climbed walls that felt like burning metal. His arms shook. His legs felt like they were melting. The Empress watched every move. Again, she said every time he paused. I can't breathe, he protested. Breathing is optional for warriors. It's not optional for me. She studied him for a moment, then said quietly, adjust your footwork. You lean too far forward before you move. He tried again. This time he moved faster. She nodded once. Better. He didn't know why that tiny word made his chest feel warm. After training, they stopped in a strategy room filled with black holographic maps of star systems. Marine commanders stood around the table. They bowed to their Empress, but eyed Elias like he was a mistake. One spoke. This human cannot advise us. He is untested, weak, soft. He insults our traditions. Elias braced for the Empress to agree. Instead, she stepped forward, tail rising behind her like a warning. He grabbed my tail, she said, her voice sharp. He faced death without hesitation. Have any of you done the same? Silence fell. No one answered. Then he has already shown more courage than most of you, she said coldly. The commander lowered his head. Elias stared at her in disbelief. She didn't have to defend him. Yet she did. The meeting continued. She pointed to a hologram of a human base on a nearby moon. We attack here, she said. Elias's stomach dropped. You're still invading my people? This war is not over, she said. What if it doesn't have to continue? Elias asked. What if this attack makes things worse? Humans will fight harder. You'll lose more lives. The room grew tense. A Marine general hissed. He questions you. The Empress didn't look at the general. She looked at Elias. What do you suggest? She asked calmly. He blinked. You're asking me? You are my advisor. He stepped closer to the hologram, studying the base. His mind raced. Don't attack the base. Attack the mountain behind it. The commanders stared at him like he had lost his mind. The mountain is worthless, one said. Exactly, Elias replied. That's why humans hide their fuel lines under it. They think no one would look there. The Empress leaned closer to the hologram, eyes narrowing. If you strike there, Elias said, the base will lose power. They'll be forced to evacuate instead of fight. You can take the location without bloodshed. Silence. Then the Empress said, we will follow his plan. The generals erupted in protest. This is madness. Humans lie. Empress. This will fail. Her voice cut through them like a blade. Enough. The room fell silent instantly. Elias could feel his pulse in his throat. What if he was wrong? What if he cost her a battle? What if she regretted choosing him? She turned to him. Come. They walked to the observation deck where massive windows showed the stars like oceans of light. Her tail swayed softly behind her. You risked much today, she said. I thought that's what advisors do. Advisors guide. But they do not question their ruler so boldly. Should I apologize? She looked at him for a long moment, then said, no. Her voice softened. It is refreshing. He almost smiled. So you like that someone argues with you? I like someone who thinks. A soft alarm sounded. Marine ships moved into formation as they approached the human moon. Elias held his breath as the fleet fired at the mountain. The explosion echoed across space. Then human sirens blared. Soldiers evacuated the base in a rush. No one fired back. No one died. The Empress watched the scene unfold in silence. When it was over, she turned to Elias. "You were right," she said. He exhaled in relief. "So, what now?" She stepped closer. Her voice lowered. "Now the galaxy will change." He frowned. "Because I grabbed your tail?" "Because you showed me something no human ever has," she said. "Courage, insight, and a mind that refuses to bow." She lifted her hand gently, almost carefully, and placed it on his shoulder. "You are no longer just a soldier," she said. "You are the first human trusted by the Varine throne. And from this moment, you shape our future." Elias felt the weight of her words. Heavy, immense, but not frightening. For the first time, he looked into her glowing eyes and didn't see an enemy. He saw an ally, maybe even something more. The Empress's tail curled once behind her, not threatening this time, but almost. "Come, welcome to my side, Elias Ward," she said softly. "Together we will end this war." And for the first time in his life, he believed her.